In today's webinar, we want to really talk about modern access control solutions and help you understand like what are the real big benefits and the values they deliver to your properties like yours. We're also going to show you a new dual purpose device that's changing the way properties are protecting their communities. Towards the end of the webinar, one of our clients, a Greystar managed property, will join the webinar. Gavin, he's an assistant manager at Rye Charlotte, a 320 unit property located in Nashville, Tennessee. He's going to describe how and why he chose Rently at his community and how he's using one of our solutions as an access control solution and his experience with installing it and then using the device itself. So let's get started. But before we jump in, I like to understand like where are we of everyone who's attending the webinar today is do you currently have an access control system within your community today? Is it's yes, no, or are you planning to have one soon? So in the little poll box, there's a module on your screen. You can answer yes or no, and then Betsy can help us understand the results here in a minute.
Yeah, so if you don't have any and you're planning to, you can always use the planning to soon. We'd love to know if that's a part of your plan.
This really helps us understand like if how we want to position our presentation and understand like what are some of the things we want to highlight today.
Cool. So it looks like the poll stopped moving. So 64% of the people here today selected yes, and 21% said no, and 14% said planning too soon.
Perfect. Well, that really is going to help us understand like what kind of access control solution do you have in place today, and are you using Intercom? Are you using other types of devices that can connect to that current solution? So let's keep rolling. So I know this is a lot of content on this page, and I'm going to spend a few minutes here, but I really want our group to understand what's the importance of access control within your community. We all know that it's really there to provide a secure environment, but really access control systems can regulate who can enter particular areas, enter certain buildings, enter your common areas. Sorry. It's not just about keeping unauthorized people out. It's about managing and monitoring the flow of people, your assets within these areas. And most importantly, it has this great level of security and how it can enhance your resident experience as well. So security and resident experience are really important. Modern access control systems enable this automated access to your front gate, to an entrance door, to the elevator call button, to a garage, a parking facility, even the arm to open up the parking facility. Common areas including like a swimming pool area, clubhouse, laundry facility, and so much other amenities. The newer access control systems allow residents and guests and staff and vendors to access the community without a physical key. So no key. I have either my phone or a fob, and I enter in my PIN code to get into that building. So no longer is that physical key, and all the costs associated with that are important. So let's dive a little deeper into the big benefits. So I mentioned security. So stronger security. So you know exactly who's coming and going. You can prevent unauthorized access. You can prevent security breaches, even deter criminals, vandalism, package theft, etc. This makes your community safer and more comfortable for your residents. We talked a lot about why it's important for resident experiences. It's convenient. It's modern. They don't ever have to have a key. I mean, they don't have a key today to drive their car, the newer cars anyway. So this keyless entry is quick, it's convenient, and it's economical. Your maintenance staff no longer have to carry around a key fob of 200 keys. So you have that, you resolve those issues, and you have less lost key issues, locksmith issues, less locksmith visits. If you turn over a unit, you don't have to go and physically change the key. So it really helps the hassle of keeping track of those physical keys. One of the things that we don't really ever talk about is how will access control help you during emergencies? First responders now can quickly open gates using a gate and key switch and no physical keys required. Better visitor management. It's a simpler process. You'll have an activity log of whoever comes through that access panel. You'll have a visitor photo if it's connected to security camera, and you'll know who's coming and going. Or even if you, the visitor photo, you'll have it if they use the intercom system. So access panels really allow for this virtual intercom system to manage your secure entry points for your guests and deliveries. And it really facilitates that communication between a resident and their visitors, leaving you, the property managers, out of that whole scenario. Let the residents grant access to their visitors. It's really important. We talked a little bit about reduced costs. The keyless access control really helps you reduce costs by not having those extra keys and rekeying. I already talked about that. Operational efficiency. I think this is a huge one because a lot of our clients really tell us, hey, I'm with your new system. We're able to reduce our workflows, reduce the human errors. We help communities run a bit more smoothly and more efficiently. Leasing staff and maintenance team no longer have to be always on the weekend, always on at 7 o'clock at night to manage access issues or rekeying units or issues with the key. Leasing staff have the flexibility to actually go on their smartphone and go to the Rently Manager portal and fix someone's key fob or fix someone's code right then and there, so they don't have to travel back to the on-site facility or on-site community to fix an issue. So it really does help with operational efficiency. And last but not least, we talked a little bit about data insights. This kinds of solution, these modern solutions, give you an audit trail. So it gives you data to understand who's going in, who's left. Is the person in apartment 101 letting in 25 people? I doubt they're having 25 guests every day, but at least you'll have that understanding and complete visibility and control over your own community. And then, unique user codes and even special permissions. So it really does help for that complete control. One of the big things too is most of our clients typically had 3 to 4 devices hanging on the entrance of their front door, over their gates, or wherever the main entry is. Now, keep in mind, this is a intercom system here, the big giant gray box with the little purple panel here. If I'm a hearing impaired person, I would have to put how can I hear this if I'm a little bit hearing impaired? So if I were to have a solution where the intercom comes through my phone, I can have my ear pods in and my hearing issue is probably not as bad. And I can actually communicate really easily with my visitor or with my resident who I want to visit. So going from 3 panels down to 1, this is a Rently here on the right, it really does make a difference. And it looks a lot better. So moving on. So let me introduce you to a new dual purpose device. It's a secure solution with a built-in intercom for stronger security and enhanced visitor management at your community entrances. It also has that access control reader at the front, so your residents can enter in your PIN code. They can use their fob or they can use their smartphone. And then the same panel is used for just an access panel. Picture this at one of your amenities like the pool. Or at the clubhouse. So say you have to buy 3 devices, they're all the same. You know how to utilize all of them. They're not 3 different devices. So again, one device can do access control panel plus intercom at the front entrances, and then just as an access control panel at your amenities and even your elevators. So I'm going to turn it over to Betsy to talk about this cool new product.
Thank you, Jackie. So there are a couple of my few favorite hardware designs that I would like to share with you today, that I would like to highlight. One of the things that we really heard when we were doing customer research was that setting up was not very easy, whether that's all smart home devices, or is it specific to access control solutions. So what we've really done is taking out a lot of the frictions that caused some hesitancy in implementing access control. That includes having the panel be its own hub, so you don't have to install an additional hub to go with it. You can also use this without a controller, like a standard access control system setup, and as well as you can also plug this access panel into a standard outlet as well. This panel also stays connected on its own. You can use 3 different types of connections. There's Wi-Fi, cellular, and Ethernet, which means that you could have multiple types of connections active at the same time. In the case that one of them does go out, one of the other backup ones will stay, make the panel stay online. Additionally, we've added an e-ink display that can be used as an intercom. You don't have to. You can always choose to just use it as an access control solution, in which that e-ink display can display a friendly message like welcome. And last but not least, durability and standards that we have for access control. This includes IP65, which rated it very durable against heavy rain and dust, and as well as UL 294 certification, which is the highest industry standard for access control solutions. You can go ahead. With that introduction to the hardware, I do want to talk more about how you can utilize this product. So we see there are 2 main use cases. So the first one is for community entrances, where a lot of people might be going in and out. Doesn't matter if it's your residents, delivery drivers or dog walkers, all these different types of people that go in and out every day. 24/7, 365 days a year. We want to highlight the intercom part of this access panel that we have. So just a little introduction to what intercom is. If you don't already know, it is a very multifamily centric product that allows communication between people, whether that's resident to a delivery driver or someone on site, like a community manager to, a maintenance worker coming in. It's got many benefits though. More secure because you can vet whoever is calling you to get access. It enables remote communication by allowing you to video call. Flexibility in ways that you can unlock. When someone calls you through the intercom, you can tap a button on your video call screen to let them in. You can also provide them an access code or even swipe to unlock in your app to let them in as well. And access history with visitor photos. The visitors do currently take a photo of themselves to make sure that their face is very visible, and that photo does get stored inside the smart home, the Rently portal, as well as issuing duration codes for temporary visitors like dog walkers who might only need to be there for a couple hours to make sure that your dog gets his daily need of exercise. And then we can move on to talking about the use of this access panel in common areas. So we understand that not every single entrance needs an intercom, especially in areas like your common inner entrances, like amenities. You can easily use this for that as well. The same flexibility in multiple ways to unlock that Jackie has touched on earlier. But additionally, customizing when residents can access an amenity, like a swimming pool. We know that typically those aren't open for the whole day. You can configure it to be accessible from like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to avoid any sort of late night shenanigans. Also allowing the ability to allow residents to reserve amenities through their app that we provide. So they can do something like, 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon reservation at the clubhouse for a small get together. And also as well as durational codes for temporary visitors, just like through a gated entrance into the community. Um, Lastly, when the e-ink is not displayed, as you can see on the bottom left, it can display a little friendly message that says welcome. We can move on. And here we wanted to just let you see how it works. We know we talked a lot about how it works, but it's always easier to see it than to hear about it.
Perfect. And then when you do think of a question, feel free to put them in the questions module, the Q&A module. And then at the end, after we hear from Gavin, we'll take all the questions and hopefully provide everyone with an answer. So let me click play here. I love the fact that it's so simple to use. And if you guys noticed on the screen, when our visitor came to knock at the door was locked, but they knew they were going to meet with Betsy. So all they did is looked on that directory, went to dial Betsy. Betsy answered the video call on her phone, said, yes, oh, I recognize her. I asked, and you granted her access. So very cool and very seamless.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Jackie. And I know it was a little bit laggy, at least on my screen, but we also have the video linked. You can also watch it directly on YouTube. It's not that laggy in real life. I can assure you that. Yeah, so again, one theme that we really was trying to convey through this product is centralization. Centralization is a huge topic in multifamily property management. It's something that we at Rentley really understands, and it's conveyed really well through this one device that has all these different functionalities. With this device, you can use it for access control on virtually any access points that fits any of the use cases, whether that's entrance into a community or amenities, and later on elevators, as well as vehicle gates. You're able to see everything on the Rentley portal that happens when things are going on around these entrances. Also, bonus points if you're a self-guided tour client, since access can't be granted to prospects during tours. And next, Jackie, you can go over what installation is like.
Perfect. Well, I happen to be, talking to a lot of clients that have installed them because we're trying to, understand and make sure everything is going smoothly. But one of the common themes that keep coming up every time I interview a client is how simplified the installation is. Because again, if you had standard 120 volt power already at your front entrance, maybe you already have a system solution there, or you do electric strike gates anyway, you probably already have that power there. So it's basically almost a rip and replace kind of solution. You just connect it to the power supply controller here. There's the access panel. It then connects to your door contact sensor, even to your request to exit button. All of those lines are already pre-configured. You just connect into your existing configurations. And again, it's pretty quick. It's pretty easy. So I think that's a huge benefit, because you're not connecting to an additional access controller in your computer room. You're not connecting to 3 other devices at your front door. It's one device for access control and the same device for your intercom system. So I think that's a really cool feature. And then, as I mentioned, we wanted to bring in Gavin. When I interviewed Gavin a couple weeks back, he was really talking about the Rentley's Access Panel with Intercom being one of the most user-friendly solutions, and it's the most versatile product on the market today. And he's going to go over why he loves it. So give me a second and we'll introduce him in. And welcome to the webinar. I know today we're going to talk about our access panel with Intercom, but tell me a little bit about yourself and where do you work?
Yeah, thanks so much, Jacqueline. So I am currently stationed in Nashville, Tennessee. There's a brand new property called Rye Charlotte Ave Apartments that is located in the Sylvan Park area of Nashville. So it's kind of a new up-and-coming area on the west side of the city. I'm the assistant property manager over here. And we've been open for only about 5 months now, 4.5 months, and we've been going strong and we're loving it.
Can you tell us about your journey using Rently?
Yeah, so our property opened about 5 months ago now. We had the V3 panels installed everywhere in our amenities, exteriors, package rooms, mail rooms, such like that. And it's been really, really nice. The residents here have all been able to access it, 3 different ways primarily. So either by using a code on everything, using a fob that we give out to them at move-in, or they're able to use it from their phone. So it's actually been a pretty awesome product. I've been in the industry with several different types of access control devices. So far, Rently has been the most user-friendly and most versatile kind of access control. So it's been great.
Perfect. I love that. Can you also tell us about how was your experience using the new access panel with Intercom and specifically for access control?
Yeah, so the V4 panel has made it, the new panel that we have has made it actually really easy, mainly for guests and, delivery drivers to show up. We've got a lot of Amazon deliveries that happen here, and with so many different Amazon drivers specifically, sometimes they don't all know exactly how to get around on property. So it's great because they're able to see, the unit number, or they're able to see the resident's name and, look them up on that intercom, reach out to them and say, hey, I'm trying to deliver your package, that you paid for, how do I get it? Or we've had, folks with guests that have shown up and, that have never been here, being such a brand new property that, they're not sure where to go or how to get in. We've also had it where a few of our residents have used it for their dog walkers as well. So with Rently, they've been able to set up temporary codes through their app into their specific apartment. But then also, this is a great way for the dog walkers or the cat sitters to get into the property, and then they have this other way through Rently to get into the apartment. So it kind of just brings it full circle with everything else that we have on property. It's a really nice asset to the system.
Well, perfect. So I'm hearing that what made you guys decide to try to use our product as well as an access panel and an intercom, it was for better enhanced guest management, it was resident experience improvement, and then again, an overall security approach as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Awesome, awesome. Were there any other challenges that you haven't described that help the Rently panel has solved for you?
Uh, really, those are kind of the main issues that we had. Being such a brand new property, we, every day just kind of keep our heads on a swivel and constantly look for new things that arise. But so far, those were kind of the major things: is deliveries and guest access. And this is pretty much, the V4 panel with the intercom has pretty much handled those issues for us. But there might be more in the future. There always is. Welcome to multifamily.
Perfect. Would you consider the installation as very easy, sort of hard? I mean, give us sort of your, experience on that.
Yeah, so our installation person that came through, him and I kind of just talked about exactly where we wanted it to go. It did require a slightly larger box than the V3 panel that we already had on property. So he kind of had to improvise on that, but he said that your tech team was in the process of like making a specific box for the V4 panel. So that was really the only thing that he was like, how do we do this? Everything else was an easy breezy situation, super easy to put on there and work.
Tell me what some of your favorite features are of the access panel with Intercom. I know you probably use the manager portal to check activity logs, but any other features that you'd love to talk about?
Yeah, so I actually talked with Betsy here quite a bit about security and such like that. And they actually put in place, originally we had it set up where it was apartment numbers and names right next to each other. So like you could see everybody that lived on the property and exactly where they lived. We didn't love that coming from a security perspective. So they actually ended up making it a, kind of like user or management thing where we can turn off whether or not you see apartment numbers or turn off whether or not you see names. So that was a really, really nice perk of it. And then also what's really great is the other panels that we've had, the V3 panels without the intercom, those had to talk to like a cellular box that was installed up on the wall or on the ceiling nearby, versus the V4 panel, the intercom panel, is all encompassed in one. So as soon as you put a code in, as soon as you click it on your phone, or as soon as you hold a fob up to it, it's instantaneous that it recognizes it because it's all internal rather than being these separate systems that all have to talk to each other. So it's been great.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that. One last question for you. What would you tell others about Rentley's Access Panel with Intercom if you had the chance?
Yeah, so I would say that it's definitely a little bit more along the lines of user-friendly. I know I've said that in the past with it, but I've worked at several other apartment communities before where we've had, latch systems or butterfly systems, and that's all encompassed just within, the box that's on the wall. This is much better because somebody can go ahead and, scan the QR code on there and let find the person that you're looking for, and then you can, give them a call right from your phone. So it's like you're FaceTiming them or Skyping them or Google Meeting them, right from your phone, which I feel like just makes it a little bit more user-friendly than, being stuck to this thing on the wall, or like you can't use your headphones with it. So if you're slightly like hearing impaired, you got to like get right up on the speaker to hear it, versus if you have AirPods in or something, you can talk to somebody just like, they're right there, your friend on like FaceTime or something. So I would definitely recommend it for several reasons, but mainly for that reason that you do everything on your own personal phone after you've scanned the QR code, and you can like walk around, meet them at a specific door that they want to meet at, or whatever the case. So it's great.
Welcome.
Well, perfect. Well, sorry about the echo. I think that got resolved midway through, but I apologize for that. But we will provide the link to that video as well. But I know it's now time for Q&A, and a couple of questions have come in. So I'll go ahead and read them, Betsy, and I might even switch back to one of the slides if I can. First question. Thank you, Pete, for the question. What are the power requirements, and do you have an available installation schematic? I think we have that on there.
Yeah, I think Becca also has answered the question, but
Okay.
I think we could send, I think Becca said he'll send the schematic to Pete later on, but it's typically 120 volts within 30 feet. And if your nearest power supply is further than 30 feet, then you might have to have a high voltage electrician draw power closer to the access point.
And as everyone else is typing in their questions, one cool thing we're doing today is if you look in the resources module, you'll see on item number 3, Intercom promo. So our access panel with Intercom, we're running a special promotion for all webinar attendees, a 35% off of our list price if you buy a panel because you attended this webinar today, or maybe if you buy 2 or 3 panels. Again, remember, front entrances, you can do access panel reader plus the intercom. It's the same unit as well, all in one, built-in intercom. And then for your amenities, your pool, your clubhouse, your laundry room, you can have an access panel there. For any door you want to secure, the panels are really nice for that. But check out the promotion, click on that link, and you can put your name in there and make sure that code is attributed to your account. Any other questions?
I think there's a few that came in. So from Karen, is it non-proprietary equipment? The access panel with Intercom is proprietary to Rentley, but you can also, for the other components that make an access control solutions, you can source from other parties. This includes anything from the power supply to the request to exit button, as well as the mag lock or strike, depending on what your specific entrance point requirements are. Hope that answers your question, Karen.
And again, one of the cool points that I like to mention is the Rentley Access Panel is built and manufactured by Rentley. So we own the, the supply chain for that. We make sure that it's UL certified. All of the components that we are able to control, we control. So again, yes, it's proprietary to us, and we're manufacturing it and selling it too. And I was just looking for the dimensions spec sheet. Let me see if I can find that super fast.
Yeah. Let me see too as well.
The next question was, what are the physical dimensions?
Yeah, I can provide it. So the physical dimension of the product is 8.4 inches by 4.2 inches by 1.2 inches. So that would be length, width, height. And I can also put that on the chat here.
Perfect. The next question came in. Is it universal to all access control components, 12 volt and 24 volt?
Yes, it has the same as other access control components. And then that is also explained. We can send you, Pete, the wiring guide as well, so you can understand how it fits into like a universal access control requirement.
Perfect. And it looks like there's a couple more in, Betsy. For actual bolt locking of doors, what ANSI grades are your products built to?
For actual bolt locking, that's a great question. I actually don't really think I know the answer to that question. So if we could, I'll connect with you later once I find out the ANSI grade for the access panel. Or if you, Jackie, do you know?
I'm pulling up the PRD. Let me see if I can find it relatively fast. Certification page 12. Are there any other questions that have come in?
Not at the moment.
I keep looking, but we'll have to get back to you. We'll send you an email with that information. I apologize, we don't have that right in front of us. Oh, I don't have it on this.
Yeah, we wish we had a hardware person on this call today.
Where was Dean when we need him now? Any other questions, Betsy? Now, I know you've talked to a lot of our clients out there. What are some other of the anecdotal comments that are coming in about our product?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was just at an installation in Santa Barbara last Friday. I spoke with our installer, who is also a very crucial part in getting the access panel with Intercom live and ready for use. We've received feedback that it's very responsive, and there's a lot of use cases that he could see it for that specific site that we were installing at. They didn't have any access control solutions. So they were installing it at every single entry point into the community. And they also had it, they'll be replacing their door king that controls their vehicle gate. And let's see. And yeah, I think that's really for that community. That's what was going on. We're constantly improving on our hardware as well. Maybe not as significantly as our software is, but things like having a better rain cover for it, for example, when we hear feedback, is something that we always strive to improve on.
One of the cool features that I know I'm working on, and it's not readily available today, but I just thought I'd throw this out there, is if you are also interested, I know access control and having a complete solution, but what about when you try to connect it to security cameras? A lot of our clients have asked us, hey, do you also have security cameras? We used to say no, but now we get to say yes. We are distributing a select line of UniView cameras that are perimeter cameras and license plate recognition cameras. And we're able to collect the access panel entry activity to the footage that comes in from the security camera, where you can actually go into your Rently Manager portal, click on the activity panel for the access panel or the control panel, click on the video playback button and see that 10 seconds of footage for that entrance. So before, if you had a connected security camera, it's not truly connected to your access control reader. What happens is you'll have to go to the cloud storage of your security camera, look for the date, look for the time, look for the correct IP address of that camera to see that activity for that entrance. What we're doing is to make that easier for our property managers, where you can actually just log into your manager portal. Oh, I see at 4:10, someone entered the gate, entered the front entrance. I want to see who that person was. Boom, you click on the little video playback icon and it's connected. So that's coming in early Q1. So really excited about that too, because it just really pulls together a complete solution that has access control plus, visitor management plus security cameras, video surveillance equipment. So that's pretty awesome. Perfect. And again, really go back to the resources module. If you are not an existing client today, you can feel free to click on the Get a Demo resources and put your information in there, and someone will get back to you and really provide a true demo. Again, I know we went over a lot of items very fast and you got to hear from Gavin, but we'd love to get your feedback and what your thoughts are. If you're considering a current client of ours and you're considering this, let's reach out. Let's get you connected with your client success manager or even your account executive and make sure that you understand how it works and, give you a quote. Let us tell you that, we also offer installation services. We have a host of installers across the country who can help install that pretty quickly, probably within a few weeks. So it's not like a long lead time. So really, we want to work with you to get your installation. It's called a Rently facilitated installation. And the benefits of that is it's really set up properly. And when we leave your facility, you're up and running. It's no longer relying on a third party to get that solution going, where we have to have back and forth to get that up and running correctly. And again, take advantage of that promotional discount offer we're doing today and, utilize some of the resources. I think the video there is connected too. So again, thank you guys so much for joining. We appreciate your time and feel free to reach out.